Let's leave World Food Day for a bit now and head to other commodities, and we're discussing cobalt, which is a key material used in the manufacturing of batteries for electric vehicles, mobile phones, and electronic devices. In the last 8 months, the price of cobalt has increased by more than 100% and now hit about 42,725 for a ton. We know that demand has increased with the demand for electric vehicles, but what else is driving this, and really how much demand has come from Africa? Well, let's have this conversation now with analyst with financial derivatives company Ajibola Ayodeji. Ajibola, welcome to the program. What are the drivers of this sharp increase in the price of cobalt?
Okay, good afternoon. Thanks for having me. So that's true. We have seen the price of cobalt increase by about over 100% in the last 8 months. And one of the major things that contributed to the increase in the price is the ban that was placed on cobalt in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Congo contributes about 70% of production and even supply to the global market. So they are the largest producer and largest exporter. So whatsoever policy that is put in place in that country will affect the price of cobalt globally, and that's why we are seeing the increase in the price of cobalt over the past 8 months, because it's led to supply constraints, which is not able to meet the demand that is needed in the market, which contributes to the increase in the price of cobalt. However, yesterday it was released from the country that the ban has been lifted from on the export of cobalt. So we might be seeing a decline in price. However, even though the ban has been lifted, there's a quota that is put on it, and quota has to do with restriction on the volume that can be exported in order to regulate the price or to support price and to control the supply. So because of this quota, even though we might be seeing a decline, the decline might not really be much. It might not really be much because of the quota that is placed on the volume of exports that we're seeing.
While we know that, of course, that ban or partial ban, as you've described now, has been lifted in the Democratic Republic of Congo, how does that balance out with increased demand? We know that a lot of countries have targets, for EVs, electric vehicles, and other cleaner or renewable energy components that require cobalt. How is that balancing out with the price and the supply from DR Congo?
Okay, let me say that in the short term, we might not really see a decline in the price of cobalt, because as it is now that the ban has been lifted, many manufacturers of these EVs and other electronic devices that is using cobalt might want to buy more in order to increase their production and to meet their target market. So there might be this might even lead to a depress more upon on price. However, in the medium term, we might see like a slight decline in the price of cobalt, because they would have it might have stabilized at that time. So they know the direction of the market. They can predict the supply, the volume that will be supplied into the market. So at that time they can predict it, so that they will know how to manage themselves in order to produce and to maintain their production and to meet their targeted market.
Okay, so we're talking about DR Congo because they supply about 70%, but Nigeria also holds a vast reserve of this. Are we active in that scene?
Okay, when it comes to Nigeria, yes, Nigeria is a blessed country. We have so many rare earth materials or resources. We have cobalt. Nigeria also has cobalt, because as presently now, according to a report by African Energy Institute, they said that we still have like about 700,000 metric tons of cobalt that is unexplored. So we have this. However, Nigeria has not explored as much as is needed, or we have not really looked into that sector, because even the GDP that was released, the Q2 GDP, we saw that the metal or iron ore contracted in that report. So what can Nigeria do? And one of the problems that is facing Nigeria when it comes to the mining sector is inadequate geological data. So we don't have data about that sector. So So people don't, or investors, they are afraid of going into that sector. So there's need to engage in geological survey and open data portal, so that investors can know what is happening in that sector. They will know, they will have like a knowledge of it, so that they will know if they are going to invest their money into that sector and all. That's one. And another thing is that there is need to engage or to invest in power and infrastructure packages for this sector, because we know that every country that wants to develop, there's need for power for development. So there's need to invest in power in order to, even if there's going to be processing and all, power is needed. And the last one I would like us to do is to learn from Indonesia. What Indonesia did was to incentivize their local processing and refining. They incentivize it by giving something like maybe like a tax break for them, and also invest in power, like I've said. And they also engage in public-private partnership, because the amount or the fund that is needed in that sector might be much. So there is need for partnership between the private and public institution in order to engage or to explore that sector. However, I would like to say lastly, because even though we are going to engage in all this, there is need to look at the risk that is associated with it. For example, the risk of environmental and social harm that could come with the exploration of this material. So there is need for us to comply with ESG standard in order to make sure that even though we are exploring, we are not harming the people, and the environment is not suffering from this exploration.
All right, Ajibola Ayodeji, thank you so much for giving us those insights.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.